Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I am doing the chalk drawing for the letter I for our Islamic Waldorf inspired main lesson block on the letters. So the first thing I'm going to do is erase the previous chalk drawing. I am just using a paper towel so that I can scoop up all of that chalk dust. I have left the border and I'm just going to kind of redo the border a little bit, but kind of keep the blue that I've got there. I'm also using my Sargent Art chalk pastels. I really like these chalk pastels because they give a nice, beautiful, vibrant color. I'm also working on this chalkboard that I got from Waldorf Supplies. It is 22 inches by 32 inches. Now, most of these chalk drawings take about 20 to 30 minutes, and I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to do this one because I'm doing it a little bit different than the ones that I've done in the past. This is my fourth time doing this main lesson block with my children using this curriculum that I created. If you want more information on this Waldorf-inspired Islamic main lesson block, you can find it on my website at pepperandpine.com. So I am going to be working on the letter I, and this is the idol that Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam left standing after he destroyed all of the other ones. So instead of just doing the idol by itself, I thought I could do a little bit of detail around the idol in the form of the temple that I imagined the idol could have been in. So this is not historically accurate in any means, but I am doing something that is for inspiration and to beautify this lesson, and so that my daughter has something to copy into her main lesson book on this letter with this story. So I'm doing this temple using kind of like a brick or block, stone block kind of exterior with this curved interior, like a curved archway as the interior into this temple, where the single idol is going to be with the axe around its neck, and I'm going to kind of create that so it sort of looks like a capital letter I. Alright, so I am adding some black to really accentuate each one of these stone blocks. I have a really hard time with doing the correct perspective and the correct shadowing, but in the end I think it looks fine, and this is the thing, you don't have to be an artist in order to make some beautiful artwork. I am not an artist, I haven't ever taken any art classes ever, and yet at the end I'm pleased with it, and my daughter and my son who saw this chalk drawing were also pleased with it. So I encourage you to give it a try, even if you don't feel like you can. You'll be really surprised at what you will end up creating. Alright, so I end up erasing this whole thing that I do here. I thought I could kind of make it like a pathway coming out of the temple, but that didn't work. I also wanted to add more to this drawing rather than just this gray stony exterior, so I'm adding some plants and just, you know, a random assortment of green with a little bit of dirt, just so that it has more than just the stone idol and this stone temple exterior. I also thought a couple of candelabras on the entrance might look interesting, so I added those with like kind of a really large flame, and then adding a little bit more to the front. So this is kind of sort of the way that I do these chalk drawings, where I'll work on one part and then I'll come back and work on another part. But with this one, I am working on the letter I at the very end. I know where it's going to go, but I'm doing all of this other detail first because I kind of don't know exactly how I want to make this letter I. I know that I want it to be in the shape of an I, but I also want it to look like an idol. And in the end, it doesn't really look like an idol, but I think that for this lesson and for these purposes, you can kind of gather what it's trying to be. Alright, so I've got just my exterior kind of giving this whole chalk drawing some depth, and I'm adding my border in blue, which looks more like a river, but it's supposed to be a border. And then I'm just coming in with a little bit more detail with the ground and the dirt. So now it's time to work on the idols sort of in the background that are all crushed down to pieces, and then that really big one in the center, but I'm trying to figure out how to do my depth of field here and not doing such a great job with it. So I end up just drawing this huge idol in the center, and it's a little bit too big for this space, and so when I draw the axe that's kind of hanging at the top of it, it's kind of not totally proportional. But that is what I'm trying to do, this huge idol in the center with the axe hanging around its neck, which is more like hanging on top of its head, so that you can really see that capital letter I in there. I'm using my black just to kind of accentuate all of these different details, which are just like these stone piles of rubble, and then the stone idol in the center, and then also kind of trying to make it look kind of dark in the background, like it's just kind of going deep into this temple. And so I'm just using more black. Even though the chalkboard is black, I'm using some more black. And of course I did use the black on all of those stone blocks, and I should have gone back in with a little bit more gray just to kind of give it a little more detail. But overall, the detail is in the exterior of this temple, and then there are like little details here and there that the children can delight in finding, like the candelabras, which are kind of like, oh, that's kind of a neat thing that you maybe don't see at first. You maybe look at the idol first and then you find these other details, and that's great fun for my children. So I encourage you to add a couple of hidden details in your chalk drawing if possible when you're doing these, and then balance out the detail with the general part of the chalk drawing. Alright, so if you'd like to see how this lesson progresses, as well as all the other lessons in this main lesson block, you can tap on the screen right now. If you want more information on this curriculum, you can find it on my website at pepperandpine.com. And if you're interested in seeing how our homeschool progresses on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at pepperandpine.